Carbs, carbs, carbs. Everybody's worst enemy and the #1 reason why people can't lose weight. Am I right? Well, that's wrong. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about the 3 best carbohydrates to consume during your diet, and especially when you want to lose weight or lose fat. And also, I'm also going to break that belief that carbs are actually not your friend and can be beneficial to your weight loss journey. Let's roll the intro. What is going on, everybody? My name is Daniel Lewis, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, I wanted to talk to you guys about the best carbs that you can have in your fat loss journey. But before we dive into it, I wanted to clarify the difference between good and bad carbs, because that truly does exist. When we talk about good and bad carbs, we have to understand that carbohydrates come in many shapes and forms. And when we talk about the types of carbohydrates that actually exist in our world, it's simple and complex carbs. You see, simple carbs exist in many natural foods such as fruits, milk, and milk-based products, while it also exists in processed and refined sugars such as syrups, candy, soft drinks, and anything that pretty much contains a lot of sugar. When it comes to complex carbs, it comes in many natural foods such as peas, beans, whole grains, and vegetables. But we as a society know complex carbs as pasta, rice, potatoes, oatmeal, and other foods of that nature. So I want to take you guys to Whole Foods with me so you guys can better understand how many options there are out there when it comes to simple and complex carbs. See, when you go shopping at your local market, wherever you shop, carbs are a dime a dozen. But if you're not picking the right carbs, it may be a little more difficult for you guys to lose weight. So let's head over to Whole Foods and I'll catch you guys over there.
Let me show you something.
First carbohydrate that we're going to talk about, and the one that I highly recommend the most when it comes to weight loss and fat loss, is the sweet potato. For the sake of the example seen here, it's 250 grams of sweet potato. Now, when somebody looks at a plate like this and they say, well, yeah, you have your protein, but that's a lot of carbs. How are you going to lose weight or lose fat consuming that many carbs? 250 grams of sweet potato is equivalent to 50 grams of carbs or 225 calories, which on paper, when you look at it at a macrocaloric level, isn't a lot of food. But when you look at it on the plate, it's a good amount of food. And that's important when you're trying to lose weight because, believe it or not, you don't need to starve yourself. You just need to be sure that you're in a caloric deficit. So the reason I wanted to talk to you guys about calorically dense foods is because this is the secret to helping you lose weight and lose fat. You can eat a good amount of food and feel full, yet still be in a caloric deficit. And that's super important because at the end of the day, as I mentioned in many of my other videos, as long as you're in a caloric deficit, you're bound to lose weight, as long as you train and you eat properly. So the second carbohydrate that I want to discuss in today's video that is beneficial to your weight loss and your fat loss journey, and I've mentioned it plenty of times on my channel, oatmeal. You see, the same concept applies to oatmeal as it did to sweet potato. You can have a high quantity amount of oatmeal and still have a low calorie, low carb meal. So you see, typically, if you're having a full bowl of oatmeal, which is about 75 grams of oatmeal on your bowl, it's about 50 grams of carbs or 280 calories. Now, for comparison purposes to other breakfast foods, something like Fruity Pebbles, which, don't get me wrong, it's probably one of the best cereals that are out there. You can argue with me if you want, but it's 230 calories, 49 grams of carbs, 20 of which come from sugar, refined and processed sugar, which is not beneficial to your weight and fat loss journey. So to help drill down the idea behind having calorically dense foods in your diet, you can have something like protein oats, which I've mentioned in previous videos, which is linked on the screen. You can have something like protein oats, which is high protein, low carb, and low calorie, which is very beneficial to your weight loss journey in comparison to Fruity Pebbles with some milk. This is just going to contain mostly carbs and fat and very little protein, while the protein oats is going to be high protein, low calorie, low carb. The idea behind consuming calorically dense food is that you want to stay full throughout the course of the day, but you want to do that with as much food as possible, but as less calories as you can. So the final carb that we're going to be talking about in today's video is brown rice. Now, just to kind of give you guys some insight, the difference between brown rice and white rice is that brown rice is actually a whole grain, while white rice has a lot of its nutrients removed and deprived from the rice itself. While it is more flavorful, it's not as healthy as brown rice. A serving of brown rice is typically 142 grams, which is about 40 to 50 grams of carbs and about 200 calories. To give you guys an idea, it's pretty much this amount. And while it's not a lot of food, it's not as calorically dense as sweet potato or oatmeal, it's still a beneficial tool that you can use throughout your weight and your fat loss journey. Now, some people prefer to avoid rice altogether, and I can see why, and it's understandable. When you see this amount and you say that's not enough, it's very easy to just overconsume in rice and just pack on the carbs and pack on the calories just from rice itself. Again, it's not as calorically dense as sweet potato or oatmeal, but it still serves as a great tool to have throughout your fat and weight loss journey. Maybe rice is not your thing, perfectly fine. You can also opt for quinoa, which has the same nutritional value as brown rice, and it's better than white rice or pasta or anything like that, which would not be in your best interest when you're trying to lose weight or lose fat. So to summarize, the 3 best carbs to have when you're looking to lose weight or looking to lose fat is sweet potato, oatmeal, and brown rice or quinoa. As I mentioned before, you're looking for food that's calorically dense and allows you to remain full throughout the course of the day. As a reminder, you want to stay away from simple carbs, anything that's high in sugar, maybe like a sugary beverage or candy or anything that's processed. They're usually high in calories and low in nutritional value, and you want to make sure that when you're trying to lose weight and losing fat, that you're keeping the nutritional value high but the calories low. With that being said, I hope you guys found value behind this video. If you did, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.